Welcome to today's video. In this episode, we're diving into a topic that has sparked debates for centuries: the origin of the Bible. Specifically, we'll be exploring whether the Bible, as we know it today, has been altered by human hands. This is a question that challenges the beliefs of millions around the world, and there are several perspectives to consider. But first, let's get one thing straight. We are not here to attack anyone's faith or beliefs. This is an exploration of history, scholarship, and the complexities of religious texts. So, whether you're a devout believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, stick around as we dissect one of the most controversial questions surrounding the Bible. Part 1. The origins of the Bible. What do we know? The Bible, in its various forms, is the most widely read and distributed book in the world. It consists of two main sections: the Old Testament, or Hebrew Bible, and the New Testament. But how did these texts come into existence? Was the Bible written by divine inspiration, as many believe? Or were human hands involved in shaping the text over time? 1. The Old Testament Hebrew Bible. The Old Testament, composed of historical, poetic, and prophetic writings, dates back to around the 12th century BCE. It was written in Hebrew and some parts in Aramaic over a period of several centuries. The texts weren't all written by one person or at one time. They were passed down through oral traditions and later compiled into written form. There are questions about the authorship of books like Genesis, Exodus, and others, with some scholars suggesting that these texts were edited and combined from different sources. 2. The New Testament. The New Testament, written in Greek, was produced in the 1st century CE. It contains the Gospels, Acts of the Apostles, epistles, letters, and the book of Revelation. These texts were written by early followers of Jesus, such as Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, and others. But even within this section, questions arise about how the texts were compiled and canonized. Some books were debated for centuries before being accepted into the New Testament. Part 2. Was the Bible altered by man? Now we get to the heart of the question. Has the Bible been altered by humans over time? The answer isn't as simple as a yes or no. There are a few key areas where alterations, edits, or changes might have occurred. 1. Translation issues. The Bible has been translated into countless languages. Each translation, especially from Hebrew and Greek into English, involves interpretation. Words, phrases, and idioms don't always have direct equivalents, so translators have to make choices. These choices can influence the meaning of a passage. For instance, the famous phrase, "Thou shalt not kill," in the King James Bible is more accurately translated as "Thou shalt not murder." 2. Textual variants. Scholars have identified thousands of textual variants in biblical manuscripts. These differences can range from simple spelling errors to more significant variations in meaning. The existence of these variants doesn't necessarily mean the Bible was intentionally altered, but it does suggest that over time, human scribes made mistakes or modified texts. 3. The role of the early church. The early church played a significant role in determining which books would be included in the New Testament canon. Some texts were excluded because they were seen as heretical or inconsistent with accepted doctrine. For example, the Gospel of Thomas, which offers a very different view of Jesus, was not included in the Bible. Some argue that this selection process was a form of editing the Bible to fit a specific narrative. 4. The Council of Nicaea. The Council of Nicaea in 325 CE is often cited as a key moment in the shaping of Christian doctrine. While the council did not directly alter the Bible, it did play a role in determining which teachings would be considered orthodox. Some critics suggest that the decision-making process at Nicaea was politically motivated and influenced by power dynamics, which may have had an impact on the formation of the Christian Bible. Part 3. What does this mean for us today? So, what does all of this mean for modern readers of the Bible? Does the fact that there were alterations, translations, and edits over time make the Bible less reliable or less sacred? It's a complex question. Here are a few points to consider. 1. The Bible as a sacred text. For billions of people, the Bible is more than just a historical document. It's a source of divine inspiration, moral guidance, and spiritual truth. While textual variants and historical edits may be part of the Bible's evolution, many believe that the core messages of faith, love, and salvation remain intact. 2. Asterisk the role of interpretation. The Bible's meaning is often shaped by its interpretation. Different denominations and cultures may interpret the same passage in different ways. This means that the message of the Bible isn't fixed, but can be understood in various contexts, even as the text itself remains largely unchanged. 3. Historical and scholarly insights. Modern scholars and historians provide valuable insights into the Bible's origins and development. Understanding the history of how the Bible came to be can help us appreciate the complexities and challenges of preserving sacred texts over thousands of years. Conclusion. In the end, whether or not the Bible has been altered by human hands is a question that doesn't have a clear-cut answer. It's likely that human involvement in its creation, preservation, and transmission is far greater than many people realize. But that doesn't necessarily diminish its power or importance. What matters most is the message that the Bible carries for its readers, the pursuit of truth, wisdom, and spiritual connection. Whether you believe the Bible is divinely inspired or a product of human history, it remains one of the most influential books in the world. Call to action. If you found this topic interesting and thought-provoking, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Also, leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think the Bible has been altered by man? Let's start a conversation.